On today's Domain Sherpa discussion, what happened to traffic last week? Was Rick roasted to well done perfection? What else happened? Stay tuned, we'll tell you. Endurance acquires the assets of buydomains.com for, on the high end, $80 per domain. Now it's 1 million domains, but what does this mean for other large portfolio owners? Coffee.club sells for an amazing $100,000, and we have the buyer as a guest on today's show. Right at the Dot and CentralNick launch websites to sell city new GTLD domains. Is this the wave of the future? Some recent sales are discussed in the aftermarket and much more. Stay tuned. I have 3 sponsor messages before we get into today's show. First, if you have a great domain name and nothing to show when people visit, you're missing out on potential advertising revenue, leads, and partnership opportunities. NicheWebsites.com can build you a site quickly with a price option to suit any need. But as their tagline says, they don't just build websites, they build businesses. NicheWebsites.com. Second, if you're buying or selling a domain name or portfolio and you want an estimate of its value, Estabot.com is the place to go. Just like you'd visit Zillow.com to get an estimate of a house value, Estabot.com provides key information about the most important statistics so you can make an informed decision based on data. Finally, whether you're buying, selling, brokering, or financing a domain name, you need an escrow company that's properly licensed, bonded, insured, and audited. That company is escrow.com, and they've been doing it since 1999. Escrow.com. It's about trust. Hey everyone, my name is Michael Cyger. I'm the publisher of DomainSherpa.com, and this is the Domain Sherpa Discussion. When news and events happen in the domain name industry and you want to hear a more in-depth discussion on the topic, you turn into the Domain Sherpa Discussion. We're joined by 5 domain name Sherpas this week. From left to right, we have Adam Dicker, CEO of dnforum.com and nichewebsites.com, the company that will help you build, rank, and update your business website. Joining us as a guest on today's show is Bill McClure, CEO of coffee.org, lifelong entrepreneur who has had multiple successful business exits, and leader of the WJM Investments empire of flowers and coffee. Michael Berkens, publisher of thedomains.com, co-founder of the Right of the Dot consultancy, and founder of the domain marketplace mostwanteddomains.com. Paige Howe, founder of the newly relaunched marketplace domainoutlet.com and the service domaintipsheet.com, where you can find great hand-selected domain names at reg fee pricing. And Rick Schwartz, the domain king, owner of the erealestate.com portfolio of brands and co-founder of the Traffic Domain Industry Conference. Gentlemen, welcome to this week's show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Berkens, you love it when I say domain king, because it sounds like we're getting ready for like a fight or something, doesn't it?
No. I'm just, something, where somebody's going to pat somebody in the head with and make them, anoint them, I guess. As,
All right. Well, I am anointing
Jewish people, so I don't know.
I am going to anoint Paige Howe as the official pen sponsor of Domain Sherpa. I've got my limited edition .la pen, and there's a limited quantity of these, so that means that it is worth a lot of money. It's like
what's the number?
What number is this? Is this number 1 or number 5 off the line, Paige?
That's number 1 as far as you know.
But bam, right there. Also, thank you. What'd you say, Mike?
Number 1 of how many?
Yes.
It's a limited edition of what, 17 million?
Don't be jealous.
Those aren't cheap, man. Vistaprint, they threw it in. They got me with that shopping cart.
I didn't get one. I didn't get one.
I know, because people send me swag in order to get it on here. Also, a big thank you to Doug Tanger over at Cambridge.com for the mug. Keep calm and Cambridge.com on.
Well,
love it, Doug. And it showed up in one piece, Mike Berkens.
If you take the and Cambridge off and just say keepcalm.com, it's so much better.
But he doesn't get the publicity.
Well, I don't care. I didn't get much, so what do I get?
And it came in one piece, might I mention. I didn't break it before I sent it. Anyways, first up, the Targeted Traffic Conference took place last week in beautiful Miami Beach, Florida. I was personally very disappointed not to be able to attend. The program looked impactful. The weather looked phenomenal, especially compared to Seattle weather. Rick Schwartz made his final comments to the audience before he retires from his conference organizer duties. But what I really want to know is how roasted did Rick Schwartz get? Rick, you seem like you're in one piece today.
Well, they're still stuffing the turkey, I think.
Well, it was nice that Rick was able to move fast enough to not get spanked on the ass by the unknown roaster.
Somebody was trying to spank you, huh, Rick?
Yes.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
There was some quick moving around the stage.
All right, our own Adam Dicker and Mike Berkens both joined other industry veterans to share with the audience some of Rick's most memorable moments. Adam, what was one of the best stories that you heard during the roast?
Well, I don't know. I think one of the best things for me was seeing Rick's friends up there and the emotion that came on Rick's face as we went one at a time up there. And yeah, we jabbed him a little bit, but I think the most important thing for people to see was despite his hard outside, Rick is a very kind human guy. And that was what was most appealing to me about the whole thing.
Yeah. Mike, any thoughts about the roast that stuck with you?
I really didn't roast Rick. I didn't feel comfortable with it. He's a good friend. I really made fun of other people who were on the panel, which was much more enjoyable.
You were Rick's favorite roaster.
Yeah, I think the highlight for the conference for me was sort of being with Adam and Rick on Rick's final
panel.
I don't
know why you went on past my name.
No, we were on the final panel that Rick was on.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was really good.
That was great. I thought that was really good. I didn't realize that's the way it went, but that's the way it went. So
yeah,
that was an honor for both of us.
That's true.
And I heard great comments about the entire program and the events. I couldn't believe the pictures I saw of Ron Jackson and Diane Jackson as just phenomenal. If you're not connected to Ron on Facebook, you need to. Rick, how do you describe the costumes that they wore?
It was a combination of the 21st century and about the 9th century. I think it was just fantastic for Diana Jackson to put so much effort in that costume. It had LED lights throughout, which you really couldn't see in the photographs. The wingspan of her outfit was approximately 8 feet. So when she would open her wings, and if you look at the pictures, that's an 8-foot wingspan. And she made Ron's costume as well. And, the minute you saw it, you knew they were going to win by acclamation. It was just really over the top. I can't even imagine the hours and the thought that Diana put into that. And Ron was complaining, said every once in a while Diana would come over me and just start measuring stuff over here, measuring my neck.
Well, yeah, I saw these pictures where she had her wingspan out and, 6 people fit in there easily, and it was just phenomenal. And Ron, of course, wore mascara.
I think the best the best accommodation they could get is at the Fountain Blue after the Halloween party, when most of the people, including myself and Ron and Diane, were hanging out in the bar. And Liv, which is a huge nightclub, is in the Fountain Blue, so the place was packed with people. Everybody was dressed up, and they were standing there, and everybody wanted to take a picture with Ron and Dan. Not people from the show, just people, everybody. It was the best costume in the whole Fountain Blue.
Yeah. I've never seen a costume like that ever. Really. It was like off of a Broadway show. It was that classy and that good, and it was done well, and it was just very memorable.
So needless to say, they were the winners of the costume contest, Rick?
They got a check for $1,000 right on the spot.
All right.
We came in second.
The check, don't cash the check, Ron. You may want to hold it for a few days, or you may want to hammer it really quick. Just depends how you...
Mike, you came in second? You and Judy?
We did come second. We did come. I was spent no time stitching or making the Dalmatian outfit at all. And it's completely the opposite of Ron and Diane's. Classy and glamorous as Ron and Diane's, we went the exact opposite direction. We came in second. We got a nice bottle of wine, and we don't have to worry about cashing the check. So,
Judy brought all of her dogs.
Yeah, I saw pictures with Romeo and Juliet. Bill, did you dress up? I didn't see any pictures.
I had my Oscar outfit on. I had my black tie.
Oh, nice.
Pretty creative.
Nice. And Adam Dicker, I don't remember a picture of you at that party either.
No. No, I did not.
I could go get my mask. Hold on, I'll go.
I was there, but I wasn't dressed up.
All right.
Adam did bring his wife with him, which I had never met, and she was lovely.
Wendy is lovely. She definitely classes up Adam. Right, Adam?
Yes, she does.
All right. Also at the Traffic Conference were the Domain Name Industry Awards. Congratulations to our own Adam Dicker for taking home not one, but 2 awards. Domainer of the Year, which, you know, Domainer of the Year. What more can you say? And Developer of the Year.
Yeah, I was very thrilled with those and honored to win those.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Mr. Cyger won for Blog of the Year. So congrats to
One
Mr.
for
Cyger.
Blog of the Year and Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it was a complete honor. I thank everybody that voted. It was phenomenal to win Blogger of the Year, and I was speechless to hear that I had been inducted in the Hall of Fame.
And we were going back and forth. He asked me to text him if he won, so he was quite surprised.
I did. Oh, what is that?
That's me and my pal. I went as the scary guy with an Ebola mask.
Yeah, that's pretty scary,
I didn't
Rick.
spend quite as much time and effort as Diane and Ryan, but hey.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, you were on the Meeting of the Chiefs panel. Now, this is the panel where those that are in the know get together and talk about what's going on in the industry. What did you take away from this year's conference?
I felt very honored to be on the panel. I took away a new domain, coffee.club, and made a great deal on it, I think. And it's a new business model for us that I actually announced at the morning session before I bought that domain later in the day. I announced our new subscription model that we're coming out with in Thanksgiving.
Awesome. All right, so I want to actually talk about that topic in a little bit more. Let me first finish up with traffic. That is something that is unbelievable to take away from the traffic conference. Rick, finishing up on traffic, what are you gonna miss? What are you gonna miss most about organizing traffic that you've been doing for the past 10 years and 20 plus or 15 plus traffic events that you've organized?
I think the thing that I always look forward to the most is the opening night cocktail party. That's that day with the Cabana networking. So that whole first day, it's because it's very casual and it just kind of gains momentum all day long as people start filtering in, and by the nighttime it's almost a full house. And I really think at each show that's probably the single most memorable event going back to the very first show.
Yeah, and it is something unique. Congratulations on your 10th year of traffic conferences, Rick.
Well, I had a little bit longer hair and a little bit less gray back then, but it's been quite a run, and I know we've affected a lot of people, and friend and foe alike, so I think it's been a good run. And you got to remember, that when we're in traffic, the whole point of everything was really no one in the world really knew what a domain was back then. It was still in its infancy, and it was just spreading the gospel and how do you get the word out and how do you get the attention of Wall Street and movers and shakers and investors, and just to let the world know, hey, this is a viable industry, this is a viable investment opportunity, and it shouldn't be ignored because it's never going to come back again.
Yeah. Yep. No words were truer. All right. Next up, Larry Fisher broke the news on Twitter. I remember Saturday or Sunday sitting there on my Twitter account and reading it, and then the Register later reported, and Bill McClure confirmed just now, that coffee.club has been sold for $100,000, paid to the .club registry through an installment plan of 10% each year for the next decade with no interest. Turns out the deal was finalized at the traffic conference, where Rick likes to say, where business gets done.
Where business gets done, and that's the largest GTLD sale ever. And so it really has nothing to do with my personal opinions on something. We give people the platform, and create the atmosphere and environment to do business. That's what it's about.
Yeah. Bill, I believe that Colin Campbell or Jeffrey Sass said that this was the largest transaction that the .club registry has done. How did this deal come to be?
First of all, I don't know that I want to be the largest buyer of anything, but I will tell you that the price of this is insignificant to the deal. My wife was with Lil in the restroom, and she said, "I have great domain your husband ought to have," and my wife said, "Well, good luck. I don't think there's much of a shot of that." And so she joined us for lunch, and Jeff came over, and we talked about it, and the discussions began early in the day, or the middle of the day. And by 5 o'clock, we had a deal, and I would tell you, these guys made it happen. They made an offer to us. We're in the coffee business. We have a subscription model. This is a great opportunity for us, and I frankly think that it's probably was the best opportunity for me because it gives us a worldwide club. We will be able to have it in China. We'll have it in Japan. All over the world, and we'll franchise it outside of the U.S. and Canada and other South America. The deal was struck not just because in fact, we didn't even discuss price. They made it attractive to me to pay it over time, and I figured that the cost of money was very low. There was no interest on it, and in fact, we're in that business, so we don't have to buy buildings, we don't have to buy equipment, we don't have to buy coffee. We're going to roast it. This is a fresh roasted product. And then they really put the sweetener. They said, look, we will help you market it across the country. And with our registrars who will help in that as well, such as GoDaddy or Cedo. And that, to me, made it because anybody can have a website, anybody can have a domain. Mm-hmm. But, I put millions of dollars behind each business I put in there. And some of them failed. Some of them almost failed before they made money. And so now I've got a partner there with Colin and Jeff, and in fact, I was in their office yesterday in Fort Lauderdale. They're flying out here on Sunday. We'll launch on Cyber Monday. It's a really a good deal. I will tell you that Michael and Monty did try to introduce me to this domain, and honestly, I've been on Rick's camp from as far as a right of the dot, and here I am that own one today. And I'm really excited about it.
Well, and, a registry like .club has got to be on cloud 9 to have an entrepreneur and business owner like you, an end user that understands those domains, that understands the business, that has the infrastructure, that can, turn on a website and take orders and feed it right into your process because you already have a system at coffee.org. So, it seems like a great win-win all the way around.
Well, we'll have a loyalty program, and the domainers. Here's where this really works, and that is that every Rotary club in every city will have a Rotary.club, and it might be Tampa Rotary.club or Boca Rotary.club, all over the world. And you're going to have 4-H clubs, and you'll have sports clubs for any university or high school. And this is a place for the domainers that they might not have thought about, that they could pick up a few of their local clubs. And if you're a member of a club, you ought to go and register that for your local club. And then we will give you a discount. And also we're going to have a great affiliate program so that if you're have a coffee domain and you want to point it to coffee.club, then you'll be able to do that. We'll pay you 10%. You see, we already have the logo up here. And
look at you. You're doing marketing for them. They're going to do marketing for you. Man, this is a beautiful thing. I can't wait to see when coffee.club launches. I'm going to make a note for Cyber Monday. Is that what it is?
Cyber Monday.
So it's the Monday after Thanksgiving, right?
That is correct. And we'll launch it with a lot of pre-launch with some of the domainers so they can go and see it early on. I will tell you, though, this was not about the price. And I know people. There's a lot of naysayers say, why did McClure spend $100,000? I really didn't. When you talk about 10 grand a year or $800 a month, I can make a mistake, and that's what the great thing about this new startup program is. They've made it affordable for anybody that wants to really go out there and have a social media type event and website. They can do that, and we have 250,000 fans on Facebook. I'm the leader and the champion of our Facebook. Over 20,000 speak every week, and that will be a great place to start our club.
Yeah. And, you've probably made mistakes in the past, Bill, but you've had more wins than mistakes. And if I was a betting man, I'd put my money on you. This is not the first domain name that you've purchased while at a traffic conference. I remember just a year ago at Traffic Las Vegas, you put down some money to buy a beautiful bouquet.com in that auction. And I then went on to bouquet.com, and I think I bought my mom some flowers. And that is a wonderful site that's up and running and great experience.
We've just relaunched it just in the past week. I was trying to do it before traffic, but it launched actually on Monday this week. And, we're really excited about it. We wouldn't sell it. I mean, it's a $1 million domain to me today, and I feel really excited about its future.
Yeah, business gets done at traffic.
Can I make a couple of comments
Please,
about
Rick.
that? About business being done in traffic? First of all, the deal got done because .club actually showed up, okay? Because we've been talking about the lack of marketing. These guys are missing it. They don't know how to go ask for business. I'm beside myself watching this freak show out there. That's number one. So it shows if you show up and you ask for the order, maybe you'll get it. When you explain your vision, what I've been saying for quite a long time, it's incumbent on them to explain their vision. They had a vision. They showed Bill the vision. Mm-hmm. Bill bought into the vision, and away you go. That's number one. The number two comment I would make is that was not a domainer play. That was an end-user play, and it's a great end-user play, okay? It is not a domainer that would speculate $100,000 on coffee.club is absolutely insane. On the other hand, an end-user like Bill who's looking for other outlets, and we talked right after the deal, and Bill will tell you right now, he's the birdie in the mind for GTLDs. This is a great domain name. He has an established business. He knows what he's doing, and if Bill goes out there and he finds out that his marketing isn't working because of the .club, he's going to share it with us. He has the chances are he's going to make it a winner because he's great at what he does. But you can't take it for granted, and I'm sure he knows that it may be an uphill battle. Mm-hmm. It may not go as well as he wants. It may go better than he wants. But it was a calculated risk by an end user that was smart, knows what he's getting into, knows what the obstacles may be, and that's doing business with the eyes wide open. And it isn't about money. It's about an opportunity when it's framed right. But in most cases, people don't do that. Okay? Yeah. This is the right way to do it. And you can look at all the other examples of the wrong way to do it. And like I said, he is the birdie in the mind because you have to admit this is a very solid play. Bill, are you the birdie in the mind?
That's exactly right. Well, I think those of you who read The Tipping Point, this is going to catch like wildfire. And by the time it catches and the fire is coming, it's too late for me to get there. Mm-hmm. So I believe that this was it was a calculated risk. But you know what? .club made it where I could not turn it down. They
sold it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They put it. They started and we backed this startup. .club. Concept where they gave entrepreneurs, again not domainers, but people that are actually going to use the names, mm-hmm. the ability to acquire these names, over 10 years, interest free, and based on what we're seeing in a lot of premium domain registrations and renewals, which actually go beyond 10 years, they go on theoretically forever, of thousands of dollars per year. It's really a good buy. So we're. Monty and I approached, I think, Bill back in January at NamesCon. That program wasn't in place, and now to their credit, the club guys came around. offered this startup club for high-profile end users, and it's a great program. We expect a lot of people to take advantage of it. We still have over 300 of the best .club domains that we're brokering over at Right at the Dot, and coffee.club is one. So if you are an end user, if you're looking for a great domain name and affordable and with interest-free payments, it's a phenomenal program.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, will you come back on Domain Sherpa and talk about coffee.club a couple months in once you know your path to profitability?
Anytime. I'm always happy for the publicity.
Thank you, Bill. All right.
It's much better. It's a much marketable, in my opinion, it's much more marketable commercial name than coffee.org. Because .org has non-profit taint to it in a way. So coffee.club is a much better commercial name. Do you think so, Rick? Even
Well, look, like I said from the beginning, it's not going to be up to me. It's not going to be up to you. It's not going to be up to Bill. It's going to be up to the end user, and he's either going to be adopt, or he's going to be confused and abandoned. And there's not a single person on earth right now that knows the answer.
Yeah.
But if it works, I'm there and I'm gold.
Exactly. It's a very calculated, good
You got to
risk.
be in it to win it. And Bill's putting down his bet and backing it up with his business.
But Bill, if you didn't have a coffee business, would you buy coffee.club for $100,000?
No, listen, it's not about the domain. It is about whether or not you had the $1 million worth of advertising that .club has behind it to help me.
Yeah.
But I think the key thing, though, is you've limited the cost of your main franchise. So, like, we see these NBA teams go up in value and this, that, and the other. They can't go back and ask an NBA owner, hey, we want to rebill you $500 million to be in the league. Once you're in your club, so to speak, you fix the cost of your main franchise. It can't be any higher than what you've committed to, and yet at the same point, your success can be higher and higher and higher and higher. So I think, like Mike talked about, compared to the ongoing perpetuity of the high premium renewals, where they could even maybe increase or something, knowing that you've locked in the most it's going to cost you, and then it's up to you to make that number seem insignificant. I think, I really just congratulate those guys on coming up with the program and Mike Berkens. So I think it's just really terrific. And then secondly, from an internal rate of return point of view, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but the time between when you bought the name and when you're going to be in business is so short that all of a sudden it makes investment numbers look a lot different than a domain investor who's saying, well, I may have to hold this for 6 years or 8 years, and to get a 50% risk-adjusted rate of return for 10 years, yeah, we have to buy stuff really cheap. But if you know that you're going to work on it, to get back to the stuff Adam's been telling us about for 2 years, if you're operating a business soon after you make your investment, it really shrinks, the equation and a lot of the stuff. So anyway, there's my 2 cents.
All right, I'm going to have Bill back on.
One other thing that I want to say about it is that Colin and Jeff told me that they would help me get the first 1,000 subscribers. And that's the hardest piece. The first 1,000 will be the hardest to come by. The next 100,000 will come much easier than the first 1,000.
Yep.
So if they help me do that, I'm in.
Wow. Yeah, that's support.
.club won both awards of traffic. Okay, they won them. They deserved them. They won the best marketing and the most promising new TLD. And there's a reason. And these other guys better wake up, smell the coffee, and start copying success, or they're all going to be blown away, just like they are getting blown away. And let me tell you, people at the show, that was the biggest comment. How many of the GTLDs are completely stalled, doing zero? There's the model. No one will follow the model. They've been at it for 2 years. They go to all the shows. They have booths. They go and explain it. They go sell their product. They show their vision. The first time I saw .club, I laughed my ass off. I thought it was ridiculous. Then they put up the booth, and they had 1,000 examples of what you could use .club for. They know how to sell stuff. I'm just beside myself that these other guys aren't learning the lesson, and they're going to go belly up. You're going to see hundreds go belly up, and no one's going to take them over. Do you really think someone's going to take over an extension with 900 registrations? Come on. there's no value there. Even if they have all kinds of other extensions, those are losers, and all it can do is cost them money over the years.
Yeah. Good point. We're going to keep tabs on Bill. Make sure to enter in a calendar event like I'm going to do today, Cyber Monday, the Monday after Thanksgiving. Go to coffee.club and sign up. Never, never, never give up, Bill. Sign up for their coffee club program. It makes a great holiday gift.
Was that coffeeclub.com?
Rick. Coffee.club, baby. Coffee.club.
I told you to silence that guy's mic.
Quick break from 3 sponsors of today's show. First, are you tired of being upsold and cross-sold when you buy or renew a domain? Then try the newest registrar being built from the ground up with a beautiful interface, competitive pricing, and 24/7 support. Uniregistry.com will surprise and delight you. The right domain can change your life. Uniregistry.com. Second, investing in Chinese domains is crazy hard without expert native language advice. Now, as a service to the Western domainer community, TLD Registry offers ChineseLandRush.com. Using ChineseLandRush.com will help you invest in Chinese domains with confidence and without knowing a word of Chinese. Finally, MediaOptions is a boutique domain brokerage firm that gets results. They've specialized in helping companies acquire and sell high-value domain names since 2005, with a client list ranging from funded startups to Fortune 500 corporations. Visit MediaOptions.com to learn more. Next up, Endurance International Group Holdings, a NASDAQ publicly listed company with a market cap of $2.2 billion and owner of the domain.com, HostGator.com, a company that purchased DirectEye last year for $110 million. They've recently just announced that they spent another $77 million for 3 acquisitions that they made recently. They acquired Webzai, Webzai, a website design platform. They acquired Arvixe, Arvixe, a web hosting provider, and they also acquired the assets of BuyDomains.com from Name Media. Now, Name Media, of course, sold their Afternic domain name sales platform to GoDaddy in late 2013, and it appears that they're completing the liquidation of their interests on behalf of their investors. Endurance stock is at a 1-year high of about $17 a share. Paige, is Endurance doing a great job providing value to their shareholders through this acquisition?
Is Endurance for their shareholders? Probably. Yeah.
Their stock is up. People seem happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just interesting that it was unannounced when it happened. They kind of loved it. I guess the way to not have to disclose the price anymore is put a couple other things with it so you don't have to say how much it was. Bury it in a paragraph, and it was funny. I actually went online and did a live chat at Buy Domains and said, hey, I just want to know, are you guys part of Name Media or are you guys part of Endurance? The guy's like, I don't even know what you're talking about, And so, at the bottom it still says Name Media. And, it's just interesting for such a large holder just to kind of, exit out the back door kind of. And, it was just an interesting way to have it happen. I even chatted with Mike Berkens and said, am I seeing this right? Is there another company called Buy Domains that does something completely different?
It does seem like a little strange that there wasn't a little bit more announcement. So,
So
it makes me wonder, maybe Name Media wasn't happy about it. Andrew Alleman over at DomainNameWire.com wrote a great article on Tuesday doing a back-of-the-envelope analysis. He said that if you take $77 million, which was paid for all 3 businesses. We don't know how much was for the 2 design hosting companies, but if you take $77 million that was paid for all 3, and you just attribute it to the about $1 million domain names that Endurance purchased from Name Media, the average acquisition cost per domain name is about $77 each, or maybe $80 each. It's $50 if the deal was $50 million just for the Buy Domains domain names and their marketplaces. Then it's like $50 a domain name.
Paige,
Yeah.
how do you feel that Endurance is going to change over the next 12 months as far as valuation goes?
How do I feel?
Yeah.
I think it'll be down.
Okay.
but not because of buy domains. Buy domains is a blip when you're worth $2.2 billion. I mean, they could have made $500 million on the buy domains portfolio over the next 10 years, and it's not even going to make a difference on the value of the stock and the shares and the debt and the whole thing. So, I mean, it's a huge thing. It's one of our biggest holders in the whole market, and then it just kind of gets sucked up inside of a real company, a real business, and then we kind of makes you realize just how small of a segment we are. You know, you look at companies like Endurance, you look at the site builders even, like Squarespace and Wix and all these companies with $400 million pre-money valuations and all this stuff. So the next level from what we do, actually building the sites and doing all that stuff, is just blows us away, I think. And that gets me back to the fact that we still haven't really explored the upside value of what these things are worth. You know, you look at what Bill did with coffee.club. You start taking something and amortizing it over 10 years per month, and even a $100,000 domain is an $800 a month rent to get prime real estate in his category with instant recognition, monetizability, and all that stuff.
Right.
So we haven't really explored that yet, you know, in the old TLDs, not to mention the new TLDs. So I guess my feeling on the stock is it won't make much difference because it's such a small part of a $2 billion company.
Yeah. Is this bad news for large portfolio owners, other domain owners that own 500,000 or 1 million domains when they want to get out, when they need to liquidate? Is this what they're going to have to do? So
I think it's the number. I mean, I think it's the, you know, I don't know. Let's say it was 70 million. Let's just say instead of the 77 million, it's 7 million because we don't know.
Right.
It's at 70 million. It doesn't really matter, I think, what the number per domain is. I mean, they had a cost basis of whatever they had, which was substantially lower. It's a bulk sale. I mean, you know, at some point it really doesn't matter, I think, at that number. I mean, to me, you know, you could break it down, you could try to, you know, make it into something, but it doesn't really mean anything. At the end of the day, if somebody wants to come and offer me $50 million cash for my stuff, I'll sell it too. I mean, you know,
until then, you'll just continue to sell domain names and make your yearly profit based on parking and sales.
Right. But yeah, so obviously, so yeah, I mean, it doesn't. I think to break it down to a per domain basis is really irrelevant. And of course, if it has, you know, you have to figure there's a huge carrying cost too.
There is. Yeah,
huge carrying cost, and they have, you know, they have a staff, they have employees, they have stuff that a lot of domainers don't have. But you know, at a certain number, even Rick would sell all of his domains as a collective for a number that would probably be substantially less than individually. Right, Rick? What's your number?
Well, I have my number too. It's a little bit more than 50, but you know, I'm negotiable. But you know, but personally, I would probably never sell them all, only because to me, a domain name is my single greatest protection, asset-wise, lifestyle. I mean, if the dollar blows up or currencies blow up or this happens or that happens, domain is portable and it's still going to have value. So I would never sell all of them. I would always keep enough where I could go anywhere in the world and create a new life if that's what was to happen. So, but yeah,
but I think the other disappointment was the loss of the franchise value that buy domains had at one time. That they were the way people found out about premium domain names. You know, back in whether it's Internet Bubble 1 or 03 to 06, most of the retail business, Joe home business or startup or whatever was getting their name from buy domains, and there was a certain franchise value. And I felt like when they started being an owned and operated portfolio plus an aftermarket, that they almost really never did the aftermarket part great, and then they never got their properties going where, you know, they should have been able to spin out like little public companies out of their premium names that they held, you know, and it just seemed like they almost got there, they got filed, and they just couldn't get the cherry on top to get out and be public where they would be a $40 stock and they would be acquiring other people, you know what I mean? And I think that it was still that franchise value of advertising the story, you know, being in Inc. magazine and being in the magazines. This is what a powerful domain can do for you. This is what it can do for you. And I feel like they stepped back from that, and really they just became, and I'll just speak bluntly, we can handle the inquiry, the inbound landers that come in. And we'll be really good at doing that. And they had a great machine to handle those. And they were really qualified to do it. They knew how to sell when the people came in the store. But I was just always disappointed that they didn't keep going, pushing the envelope in terms of what they had. When you have 1 million domains, I think you can afford to say, hey, domains are cool. You need to buy domains. This is what you can do with them.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with the guy a few days ago, and they're like a startup company, but they've done a bunch of other startup companies, and they're trying to do sort of an Uber knockoff. And when you talk to the guys like that, and the business plans they have, the domain name is the value of it for us, if you sell it for cash, is so small in relationship to what the thing's going to be. So I think another thing Rick's been right about is trying to take some interest in these companies, for whatever, a little percentage of a company, much better than taking, selling the name for whatever. It's so small in relationship to what these things are going to be. So that's really the way to go if you can.
Yeah.
You have that kind of a name. If you're approached in that sort of manner, then you should really consider just, not selling the name, but doing a joint venture on the name, putting it into a company, a startup, and letting it fly. But you can't do that if you've been priced a domain, because they'll just come and grab your name for a couple grand, and that's it, done, over.
Yeah. All right, joint ventures leads us to our next story. CentralNic announced a joint venture with the domain name consultancy Right of the Dot, founded by Monty Khan and our own Mike Berkens. The idea, from what I understand, is to create these new retail websites for the sale of city domain names. Websites like London.domains, Vegas.domains, Tokyo.domains, and NYC.domains. All the websites are powered by the registrar Internet BS, which was recently acquired by CentralNic. I get that the .domains TLD uses CentralNic as the back end. They own the host, the registrar. They do some hosting. Mike, how does Right of the Dot fit into this whole equation?
It's just a concept I had back when .domains, which is a new GTLD, launched. In my opinion, I've written about it many times. I think the GTLDs are going to be the most valuable in terms of amount of registrations and resale value. .nyc, we're seeing that in the Land Rush auctions. So I registered pretty much all the domains with the idea of putting together registrars or network of registrars that would, concentrate on selling those. And CentralNic came through, and we put together a plan, and those sites are up and live. So if you want to register a .nyc domain, you can go to nyc.domains, or if you want to register a London.domain, go to London.domains and Tokyo.domains, and so on and so forth. So it's really geocentric. One per city, and I still think those are the big winners out of this thing is going to be the geos.
Yeah. Adam, do you agree that geos are going to be one of the big winners out of all the new TLD launches?
Yeah, I do. I've said that for a while. I've liked the Berlin showed that, and the other ones based on pre-regs and their stuff. I definitely think they're going to be the winners. They're easy to market to because it's a small area, and I think they're definitely going to be the winners.
Yeah.
And I hope Mike Berkens and Monty have a winner.
So, Mike, when you said you registered the geos, do you mean you registered nyc.domains?
Yes. London.domains, Paris.domains, Tokyo.domains, all in the AP period, so we paid a little bit more. We got them early. I think there are also premiums, but not crazy premiums, a couple $100 a year. And, I put with the goal of launching registrars to concentrate on selling those geos. So it took a little bit longer, obviously, than we would like, but we're up and running, and we're really thrilled to have CentralNic as a partner. They're actually very close to closing in on Donuts as a back end. If you look at NTLD stats and look at your back end stats, obviously Donuts is over 1 million, but CentralNic is at 732. So they're getting, pretty close. So those two are, by far the leading back-end providers. So we'll be happy to be partnered up with them.
Now, who's your desired customer on nyc.domains? Are you thinking that it's going to be New York City people that want to start businesses or have businesses and they need the domain name to go with it?
Yeah, I think, yeah, for sure. I mean, with those people, you have to be in the city to own an NYC name. So you have to be a resident, you have to be a business, you have to have a real address, and obviously appeals to end users and people who have little businesses or big businesses or residents of the city. So we assume, we're hoping that these sites get ranked as people do searches for, NYC domains. In a little bit, they'll come up on the first page of Google, and same with Tokyo, London, and a bunch of other ones we have.
Are you going to be doing offline marketing, online marketing, anything active, or are you relying on search engine optimization to rank it well?
I think we're relying on SEO right at the moment.
All right.
So I think there's a lot of interest. I mean, the .nycs in particular, I've been writing about some of the land rush auctions that people have, let me know what they're doing in them. I mean, they're doing pretty well. I mean, there's some big money being spent. I think marijuana at NYC sold for $60,000+ and I mean, there's some significant sales going on in the NYC extension. So, and I think London and Paris and Tokyo and Vegas, a lot of these cities are going to do well because you've got a built-in audience, you've got a built-in population of businesses and citizens, and they resonate, with their city that they live in and operate in. So
yeah. All right. Well, we wish you luck, Mike, and I look forward to following the progress of those geo marketplaces.
Just go spend money. Don't.
I will go. I will go and buy some right now. Actually, I can't buy any New York City ones. I'll figure something out.
I'll do London. You can do London.
Next up, I pulled out a smattering of recent sales in the market over the past weeks or so. There's been some criticisms that we focus too much on CCTLDs, on the new GTLDs. So we're going to focus on recent sales. I want to know what you guys thought. Pager.com, TotalWireless.com. There's even a .net on there. Designs.net sold for $16,800. Pager.com sold for $42,000. Mike Berkens just wrote up a couple days ago. TotalWireless.com was a shock to me. I thought it would have been purchased by Total Wireless Communication Services. It was actually purchased by TracFone, TracFone, which you guys have probably heard up wireless. Mike, let's start with Pager.com, the singular. You wrote about it. I thought it was a dead technology too. I wouldn't go out and buy VHS.com, aside from that it's a 3-letter and it probably has other uses, but it's a dead technology. Aren't pagers a dead technology? Why would anybody want it?
I mean, as we think of it traditionally, pagers is sort of a dead technology, but I made a comment in my post about sort of Instagram being like Telegram, so Telegram is sort of a dead technology too. I think there's sort of brand recognition, there's a reinventing, it's a name, it's a word that everybody knows, instantly recognizable, very brandable. I think a pretty good buy, a very good buy actually at the price. There's a lot you could do with it. I mean, it doesn't have to be what it was, it could be another next generation of something to do with messaging, instant messaging, texting, a whole bunch of items, or something completely different. Yeah. It's just very brandable.
And $42,000. Would anybody on the panel have paid $42,000 for the domain?
I'll say this about the domain that's very important. This is what you call a perishable domain name, okay? Because if we were talking years back, this would be a $4 or $5 million domain name possibly, or a multi-million-dollar domain name. But because it's no longer look, pages were the biggest thing 10 or 15 years ago. Everyone had their little pager on them, okay? So in that day and age, that domain was worth 7 figures, okay? So they didn't get 7 figures for it because they held on to it. So yeah, $42,000 is a great name, is not a bad price for something that means something. I mean, it's who knows what to do with it at this point, but it isn't that it's overinflated. But it's really interesting is Designs.net going for that price, and I think that's going to show you the strength. I keep telling people, look, I'm on record for 20 years not liking .nets, so there's no love here. But I'm telling people that because of the situation, and people are going to have to take a second look at everything, I would not write .net out of the equation. I kind of think they're going to go up in value a lot. I just don't think, I think anyone that writes off .net at this period of time is making a huge mistake. There was a reason in the past to write it off, but if these GTLDs have anything of value, then you have to put .net right back into the equation. So any GTLD guy that sit there, oh, .net is shit, it's shit. No, well, you know what? You just called your own GTLD dead and shit and worthless. Because I'm telling you, .net and GTLD are linked at the belly button, and no one, for some reason, no one quite understands that, but I do.
What do you guys think? Is .net going to have a second coming with all the new GTLDs raising awareness and general population saying, hey, .net's been around longer, it has more registrations, people don't confuse it as easily?
And they're cheap.
And they're cheap.
I think you have some waves happening at the same point. You have a coming down from what their values have been because it was the only alternative to .com. Then you have mixed with that the fact that some people see things black and white. All my .net stink, and then they have to reevaluate from zero. Okay, take me all the way back to zero. Now ask me what I think about a .net. And if I do think that new TLDs, it matters which to the right of the dot. This isn't a bad thing to have right of the dot. So you kind of have intersecting waves of some people coming from this. But I will say, I do like some .nets, like we have a lot of geo.nets, because it's still an extension that millions of people have said millions of times on millions of advertisements for the past 20 years. And as good as the new TLDs might be in the future at some point in time, that's a lot of mind share that .net still has compared to something new. So,
yeah.
I like it.
Adam, what do you think? .nets are going to hold stable, are going to rise with the new GTLDs, or are going to continue to sink with the proliferation of all the new GTLDs?
I'm going to have to say it's going to start to sink, only because the businesses that have it will renew it, but the new businesses will have too much choice.
It's a lot of choice.
So listen, and you're right, they're going to have a lot of choice. So now you have a corporation. They get into the boardroom. Okay, we're thinking about a new extension for whatever we're going to do. Okay, we have our .com. So they look at the board and they see all the new GTLDs. And anyone that doesn't think that .net comes into the consideration, .org, .tv, .me, maybe even .info and .biz, it's going to come onto the table. So it's going to be on the table. People are going to have to deal with the fact that it's going to be on the table, and I just don't know that favors the new guys. I don't know. I'm open-minded. I don't know. I can see a path where the old established ones are the ones that end up being more important.
Michael, I have a comment about the .nets. My son owns commercialinsurance.net, which he started about 4 or 5 years ago, has $1 million of his own money in it, and has $10 million worth of annualized premium that he writes through that today. So he's built a great business. Lloyd's of London owned the .com, and so he built it on .net. We own a number of .net, and I'm in a hold position now. And I did that, but I learned at Traffic. I was kind of up and down about whether they were good or not. We built a lot of insurance, a lot of different sites on it, and Braden actually convinced me just to hold my position, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, and you and I are two of the only people I know that actually operate for-profit companies on .orgs. You're running coffee.org, which I don't know how big it is, but I know it's successful in speaking to you privately, and I run hashtags.org, which is an analytical service for Twitter hashtags, primarily for marketing people. It's like Google Analytics for Twitter. And we serve 350,000 unique readers per month. We've never had any problem bringing on readers, converting them into customers. Would you, and I probably wouldn't go back and start it on a .org again, but I purchased the domain name with a bunch of authority years ago. Do you feel the same way? If you had to do it over again, would you buy a .org?
Hey, if I had stayed around Traffic from 2007, I would have been millions of dollars ahead. We paid $100,000 for coffee.org, and I've spent my life trying to convince people we're intended for profit. We're not intentionally being a nonprofit company.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't do it. I would buy as I said the other day, if I was a domainer, I would buy the best 50.coms I could buy. Forget about this owning thousands of domains for me, because I've never been a seller and work that. And I think Rick's always been on that team too, is buyyouagood.com. And I believe that today.
Yeah. All right, Paige Howe, last topic is your choice. Do you want to talk about new TLDs, or do you want to, what launched this week, or do you want to talk about Bloomberg?
Bloomberg.
All right, Andrew Allman over at Domain Name Wire broke another story, and this one actually got picked up by Main Press. What had happened is that Michael Bloomberg's legal team at Wilkie, Farr, and Gallagher, LLP, registered about 400 defensive domain names on behalf of Michael Bloomberg, the ex-mayor of New York. Domains included screwmikebloomberg.nyc, bloombergisTooRich.nyc, and kingbloomberg.nyc. 13 of the domain names dealing specifically with Bloomberg's height or lack thereof, as Andrew pointed out. A Bloomberg representative said, quote, "This appears to be an overly aggressive legal due diligence, and we're only keeping the straightforward addresses." Hey, Rick, I sort of look at this as, here's a brand new TLD. People don't understand it. Regular people, most people in the world. Is this just part of the learning curve that people are going to swing the pendulum too far one way or another and make these defensive registrations before they realize that they don't need to do that in the future?
I was kind of stunned that a guy would have such thin skin that they would have to register crap like that. I mean, my God. It's like, so then the logical next question is, he going to register those 400 left of the dot in the 1,400 other extensions that are coming out? I mean, if it means something in .nyc, then logically you would say, well, I have to do that 1,400 times 400. So what is that, like 5,600 domains they got to register or something?
Well, don't forget about the .coms. Like, what about kingbloombergnyc.com, or .net? You tack on the NYC to the left.
The story for me isn't that he registered them. It's that he got a free check hike, and he can sit there and say, nah, I don't want them. And now the story today is he's giving them all back, and he's got a refund.
Well, who said he got a refund?
What's that?
Who said he got a refund?
Well, I assume that he just probably called and said, yeah, I don't want him. Now, so, I mean,
I'm not sure he got a refund. I'm not sure he got a refund.
Okay, because Andrew hinted that it was in the grace period, and it was like tasting, and and it kind of got me up in arms, because I'm like, is this ICANN fair and transparent, or is it, hey, do whatever you want? You know what I mean?
Well, doesn't every registrar have the ability to cancel a certain number of domain names within a certain period of time? Like,
there's a grace period for GTLDs, just like there are for .coms.
Yeah. So if I register a domain name today, I could email the registrar and say, I made a mistake. I wanna refund that one.
Not if you're not the ex-mayor of New York. They're going to say, blow it out your ear. You signed the terms and conditions. We're keeping your money. There's no way they would, unless, I mean, there are some registrars out there that say, they tell you what the fee is. There's a limit that they can do per day. They publish the limit. And if you're in that business, you know who I'm talking about. But, just to be able to say, oops, can I get my money back? No one does that. Do you guys, anybody?
Well, you have to take into account that they had a humongous New York City law firm do this for them, so for Mr. Bloomberg. So, we're not talking about registration fees. We're talking about hundreds of dollars probably per registration when it winds down to what he probably paid to have somebody do it for him. So, yeah, he's only going to get refunded the cost of registration at best, not the cost and legal fees.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he should more than any other registrant. That's what I'm saying, is that if there's an RRA and if there's rules and if there's policies, I don't get a chance to sit there and say, yeah, I was thinking that I wanted that .nyc, but now I don't. I'd like to get my money back. I don't get that.
Listen, it's simple. There's a process for that. In a year, you drop the damn things, and you don't have to pay anymore. That's how it works.
I have no problem with that. I have no problem if he just decided he didn't want them and he deleted them and lost his money. But if he gets his money back, then everyone should get their money back. That's the whole reason we have an agreement that applies to all registrants. it isn't supposed to be something where you make it up as you go, and especially where I've been affected by the inconsistencies. That's what I just don't like to see. So, my feeling is, tell me if they got his money back, and if he did, then everyone else should be able to have a check hike also.
All right, Paige, we'll keep an eye on it.
He can't afford it. He just can't afford to take that kind of loss.
Congrats again to Andrew Alleman for having that story picked up by Huffington Post, CNBC, and a ton of other mainstream media. Bill, this is the point in the show where we sign off. I give everybody on the panel an opportunity to promote anything they want, any place they're going, any specials they have coming up, any services. We're going to start with Adam Dicker on the far left. Adam, anything you want to promote?
No, not really. I mean, I really enjoyed Traffic. And if you did go there to do business, and you were there for the right reasons, and you set up an agenda of people to meet ahead of time, you would get your agenda done, and you'd be happy with a bunch of extra people that I got to meet. And special thanks and reach out to a guy named Bob Barker that I met, and Eddie Sixto and his girlfriend, Barbara. There are some really good people there that I got to spend time with that I don't normally get to spend to. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, with or without the 2 awards.
Excellent. Bill McClure, anything you want to promote, talk about?
Yeah, I want to invite all of you to go to coffee.org. You'll see the announcement today about the coffee.club, and become a Facebook fan. We've got lots of exciting things coming out, and I appreciate the opportunity to be with you guys today. And let's talk in the near future after the launch.
Definitely, Bill. Thanks for joining us. Mike Berkens, anything you want to promote?
Following along Bill's story, I write a dot, represent over 300 of the best .club domains that are possible. So if you are a startup, if you have a vision and you're an end user and want to take advantage of this really special offer, get a hold of myself or Monty or the .club guys and work it out. Also, we're accepting submissions for the live domain auction that's going to be held at NamesCon. So Monty's back in the live online domain auction business, and they'll be at NamesCon on January 13th. And we're looking for well-priced domains ending in whatever, .coms and the other extensions. And we're going to have about 100 names in the auction, and so we'll be very selective. But if you have names you want to put in the auction or the extended auction, send them over. You know where to reach me or Monty or.
So send them over to Mike at rightofthedot.com?
Works.
All right, or Monty. Paige Howe, anything you want to promote?
We're going to go with .tv names this week. So we launched a domain-specific store, dnstore.tv. So it's dnstore.tv. Videos, everything. I mean, you read about HBO going to maybe, going off the TV sets, going over the top. So, a .tv gives you a chance to have your own online TV station. And so we've always liked the TLD. We like buying them. We like selling them. So we have stuff at all price ranges.
Yeah.
So dnstore.tv.
What was that TV that just sold? I saw it on my domaining feed. Wasn't it Raymond that wrote about it on his site?
Yeah, there's one that I think was picked up for like $120, 3 years ago and sold for $20,000 or something.
Yeah.
So they still have the stature to kind of, you can ask some pretty chunky prices for a .tv and and kind of keep a straight face and maybe get it. And they seem to have kept a lot of their ability to do that.
All right, Rick Schwartz.
Very brandable.
Very brandable.
Very brandable.
Rick Schwartz, anything you want to promote?
Got nothing to sell anymore. Just want to thank everyone that came to Traffic and made it such a huge success and had a great time and ate all the food and went crazy.
There's one more thing. We didn't talk about the food. It was bloody incredible. I mean, the cocktail party, the food, the shrimp were this big. There was crab, lobster. It was delicious. That definitely needs to be mentioned. The food was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's always good at Traffic. That's the one thing that I always enjoyed, that I don't need to worry about where I'm going to go or go make a reservation. The food's always great. I just need to pull up a chair and have a conversation with somebody.
12 different meals.
Yep. All right, if you have any questions from today's show, post it in on the page on Domain Sherpa, not on YouTube because I don't get over there very often, on Domain Sherpa, and I'll ask the Sherpas next week. Adam Dicker, Bill McClure, Michael Berkens, Paige Howe, and Rick Schwartz, thanks for coming on the Domain Sherpa discussion, sharing your insights and expertise, and thanks for leading others to reach their peak. We'll see you all next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.